Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm sharing. If you don't mind, if you're watching, share this. Sharing is caring. Yeah, we're trying to build a good following. Hey, Linda. That's why I posted this time thing, or I posted the advertisement a little bit earlier today. Next time I'll even try to do a little bit earlier, see if I can catch more fish, more viewers. So tonight we have a very well experienced and well versed extraterrestrial investigator slash what else? You want to tell them a little bit about yourself, what all your different things on your resume are?
Sure, I'm a certified UFO field investigator. I do multiple jobs in the UFO industry. I'm also a paranormal investigator with SWPI, Something Wicked Paranormal Investigations. I'm also a psychic remote viewer, so I can do psychic readings, and I also have my own photography business, Otherworld Photography, and I work in sales and advertising with Wicked Cuts Jerky, and here's one of their new limited edition flavors, dill pickle jerky.
Yeah, I might try some of that.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, Don.
Linda, how's it going? So, we were going to do like a update about the Idaho 4 case. There's not a lot of development that's happened. So it's good that we got a guest so we don't have to stretch that out, because the only thing that's so far developed is that Brittany Funk is, I think she already had agreed to meet. If they come to her in Nevada, your connection is slow, Dawn. You're waving slow. That's what Linda said. Thank you, Linda.
I'm
and
sorry.
There is a date set on May 25th for a movement to try and, I guess, take away or release the gag order for the victims' representatives, legal representatives. Other than that, I've just heard a lot of speculation and a lot of crap that I don't know if it's true, so I don't really like to go around speculating and jump on that or go down that rabbit hole. So we'll mostly just talk about UFOs, extraterrestrials, aliens, things of that sort tonight, since we have somebody on that knows a lot about that stuff, and I know nothing really. I've always wanted to see something. I've seen everything else in the world, I feel like, but not aliens, and I've always, since high school, been like extremely fascinated with them.
Well, then consider yourself in school, because you're going to get educated.
Good.
And you're drinking Christmas soda, so.
What is it? Christmas?
Christmas soda. It's kind of like a Christmas Jack and Coke.
I bet that tastes good.
Oh yeah.
Does it have, like, what kind of taste? Like a pepperminty taste, or?
Lord, I hope not. I don't like sweets. It's kind of like a like Jack and Coke.
Oh.
Chris and I used to be on the same paranormal team.
Way back in the old days, yeah.
Way back, a couple of years ago. Way back.
Didn't even ask him to come on tonight until yesterday. He contacted me and we had talked about it. And I thought, huh?
My schedule is usually booked like rock solid, so this all kind of worked out just like magic or something, I guess.
Yeah, he said he was going to be out of town Friday and for a while after that. And I was like, well, what about tomorrow night? You want to come on the show at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time? He's like, sure. And then today there was a gym that popped up, and I've been needing to work out. It popped up on my newsfeed, and it's called UFO Fitness. And they messaged me and asked me to come check out their gym. And I was like, that's gotta be a sign. That's just weird. It's a brand new gym. They haven't even like built any clients or anything like that yet. So I was like, well, that's weird.
Synchronicities.
I know, really. I'm gonna see like 111222 here when I get off of here, or while I'm on here somewhere. But I had a question that like there's always a saying about extraterrestrials, like I come in peace, and I was wanting to ask you because I've heard about different, I don't know what they classify them as, different classifications
Hi,
of
Pam.
extraterrestrials. So like, do they call them classifications? Do they call them species? Do they call them like civilizations, different civilizations, or how do they like label each different kind or color of extraterrestrials?
Yes, good question. We mainly call them beings, non-human beings, or some people refer to them as alien beings, but I like to refer to them as other forms of humans because they
Thank
are
you,
other forms of humans. Just like we are humans, animals, cats, dogs, fish, and they are just another type of species. And they come in peace. They don't mean any harm. There's uh, well over that I know of at least 63 different races out there. Um, and
63.
another thing, I will say they look just like us. I mean, if you were to see one in person, you wouldn't recognize the difference. The only thing is their eyes. People refer to the aliens as having black eyes. That is a more like a like sunglasses that they wear to hide their colors because our light here on Earth blinds their eyes, so they use kind of like a sun visor that covers their eyes, so it appears black. But
I
their
bet.
eyes are just like us, yellow, blue, brown, different colors.
Hey Pam, hey Yvette, hey Linda. Do you guys have any questions about UFOs or extraterrestrials? Jump in and ask in the comments. Here's a question for you. Are you part of CE5 movement?
Yes, I am. I have actually done that a few times. In fact, I did it here recently back in October, and all of the equipment that I was using completely malfunctioned right as I started. Everything went dead.
Oh, wow.
Okay, can you explain that to those of us that are
Right.
don't understand, please?
CE5 is a step process that we use to contact the non-humans, the spacecrafts, the aliens. It is a process anybody can do. It's mainly preferred to be done with a group of individuals. You can form like a circle, and then you play these tones and sounds that will attract the aliens or the ships, I should say, to come towards you. And once you're done with the process, at some point you should see a spacecraft in the sky, and
That is awesome.
you could download it on the App Store. There's an app called CE5. There's an official app, and then there's a like like a bootlegged app, but I recommend the official one. And just form a circle with a group of friends, hold hands, uh, follow the step-by-step process. By the time you're done, you ought to have some sort of experience.
Oh, so those signals that somebody wouldn't let you play the last time we were all together.
I did it by myself because there is a process you can do it by yourself, and I was alone. And when I had everything set up, everything was working perfect. And when I got to the part where I began, everything completely malfunctioned and shut off.
That is crazy. I was
But
gonna
now
ask.
using my investigation skills, I can also contribute the malfunction to the cold weather temperatures that we had in late October, which could have caused the battery malfunction.
We need to try that. I have had some interactions with what I believe were extraterrestrials of some kind. I don't think that they were spirits. Um, like I think there was some kind of high frequency extraterrestrial. The way that they communicated was not in a normal language. It wasn't words. It wasn't English. It wasn't Spanish. It wasn't French. It wasn't German. It wasn't anything like that. It was like boop boop beep boop boop beep boop boop. And I was like, what the heck is that? And I was like, maybe that's extraterrestrials because I'd never had that happen before.
You know, I'm not scared.
Are you
You
sure
said,
you wasn't listening?
huh?
I was going to say, are you sure you wasn't listening to rap music?
No, it was just like any other day that you're doing a spirit box session, and it goes through all the stations, and sometimes you hear a piece of a song, and you have to be careful what you interpret as like an answer or what is just a piece of a song, and it wasn't even just that, like
What you can do is next time you have an experience like that, is send them a telepathic message to try to get them to communicate in your language, because they can speak any language in the world. They can speak anything from French, German to English. I mean, they have ways of communicating very easily.
so you can ask them to try to make it where you can
Oh yeah,
understand what they're saying,
oh
because
yeah.
obviously I don't speak boo boop beep boop.
I don't either, but I speak English.
I was like, maybe it's Betty Boop. She's a cartoon, though. I was like, maybe it's Betty Boop. Pam said her son is a member out in the San Diego area, which is really cool. I was wanting to ask, like, where do they gather, like, to do stuff like that at? Because I'm pretty familiar with a lot of San Diego. And his name is Dr. Stephen Greer. I guess his
Yeah,
Stephen Greer protocols, like his page or his channel or his group.
Stephen Greer is the founder, co-founder, I should say, of the CE5 Contact. He pretty much created that himself. You can find him on Facebook. He's got a web page. He does a lot on YouTube and Instagram. You can go to his website, and he even has a film. Shoot, I can't think of the name of it now, but it talks all about the CE5 Contact, and he gives you step by steps how to do it, and video tutorials and all that stuff. So.
Oh, it is. So the other lady answered, Pam answered Linda. She said, "Isn't CE5 a reference to a level of interaction, like the movie E.T. was about CE, and then Close Encounters was about CE4?"
Yes, the CE5 is just a kind of like an uptake from CE4, which stands for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind or Fourth Kind.
She's closer. Oh, all right. I watched the Stephen Greer documentary, Most Enlightening. I know the name, but I haven't seen anything that he's done, but I know the name.
No, that would be a very interesting watch. I mean, it'd be worth going and typing his name in and watching that.
Yes, I would highly recommend that everybody take a watch, take a look at that, and believe me, you will be amazed. But I do recommend if you try it, do not try it alone. Make sure you have a group with you.
I would agree. Or doing anything where you're actually allowing your mind or your psyche to be connected with something else, even if you're doing like a hypnotism or like a the Estes method, or if you're trying to like do remote viewing or anything like that, especially if you're just starting out, you probably need to have like what I'd call like a second person.
Exactly.
Unacknowledged. Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, making contact. I'm not sure
Yep,
what they mean.
that's it. That's the name of the film, Unacknowledged.
Oh, okay. Have you met John Yost? John Yost.
I have not seen John. I've not met John Yost yet. I've never been in the right place at the right time to interact with him. But I'll probably meet him this. I'll probably meet him this August at the MUFON symposium. So
that would actually be good, like a protection, like a not a plan, but like a plan of action, like a binder of what to do, with like a free download of protocols to help you meditate and communicate. That'd be good to have for people
definitely.
that are just starting out, because I feel like that you could actually be allowing yourself to get in contact with something else you don't want to get in contact with.
I know that very well.
Me too. He's working on a second movie about alien encounters. Well, how awesome! I did watch an interview that Greg did of John. I'm pretty sure that was who he was talking to. A free download of protocols. Yeah, like when I first started trying to do like psychic medium work or like connecting without using a device, but just using like myself, I always wanted somebody else to be there with me that you can really trust. Make sure it's a trustable human being, because you don't want somebody you can't trust, because if something goes wrong.
Yep.
And however open you are, sometimes things can go wrong.
That's for sure.
And it can actually affect you for a long time after that. So, like you said, there's like 63 different types of
There
beings.
is. There's more than 63, but there are 63 that have been accounted for officially, as far as I
Can you
know.
name like just a few? I've heard of a
Yeah,
couple.
there's the council of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, clear up to 10. They are all none of them are evil. The only ones that are evil that I know of for a fact are the some form of grays, as they're called. But they're again not all grays are evil. The ones that I have documented or have interacted with the most are what they call the Zetas, and the
Yeah.
Zetas are they're just again like you and me standing here. That they're here to help us, help the planet. They are watching over Earth because it's like their baby more or less, and they are looking for world peace and wanting everybody to come together and basically they have our best interest at heart. I can't say the same for all 63 races, but I do know that the ones that I've mentioned thus far, they all come with peace. And when people get abducted, um, they're abducting people for healing purposes and to help them. I've worked with a lot of experiencers that have been healed from their abductions or from their contact experience. And in fact, most of the abductees, if you call them that, do not want their abductions to stop. They want to continue because they find it more pleasant and rewarding, I guess you could say.
Here's something from Linda. I have another question after I read her comment. I had contact with an alien when I was a in past life regression with a hypnotist. I did not have the past life session. It turned into a channeling of a woman from the Pallades, or Palladians, I guess. The hypnotist then asked where I came from. Turns out I am from Andromeda. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Andromeda, but I've heard of the Pallades, the Palladians.
Yeah, I've heard of the place, but I don't know a whole lot about that. I will say that a lot of people, when they have these abductions or contact experience, the non-humans, aliens, if you call them that, um, they can come in a way that will be more pleasant to you. Like they can come in the form of a doll, or maybe a rabbit or a stuffed animal, or they can come in like a form of a past relative that you're comfortable with, and they can embed that into your brain as like a screen memory. So the whole time that you're witnessing uh, this, you think it's something calm and relaxing and something that you're familiar with. You won't see the non-humans in their true form. You will see them in a way that looks pleasant for you. And one of the most one of the most common ways that they will come across is usually in the animal form. But then there's also been forms of like clowns or deer, owls, rabbits. And a few times I've heard of people referring to these experiences as being like a past loved one that came back to them, or a cat.
Yeah,
Just recently heard of a story of a cat, a white like Himalaya cat that came to a person, a child actually.
I've had so many different animals come to me, and I knew that it was some kind of spiritual event. I knew it wasn't just a coincidence because of the like chain of events that occurred and like the animal that it was, and like the event that had happened before they came. So that they came for like an importance of like like to basically like teach me a lesson or give me some kind of message from someone. So I do believe in that a lot. I really believe in that.
Well, they wouldn't come to me as a clown because I am scared to death of clowns.
You
You
don't
see me
say.
when you said clown? I said no,
You don't like clowns?
no.
Just a warning. I'm going to keep that in mind.
I
I think I usually see birds a
will kick
lot.
you.
I see birds a lot, butterflies sometimes, deer, hawks, different kinds of hawks and birds, cardinals, luna moth, sometimes luna moth. But what's weird is I'll look up what it was, and if it's like the first time I saw a Luna moth, my stepdad had passed away, and it was the night he had passed away, and we were all sitting outside. I'm not gonna lie, we were all smoking cigarettes. Me and my mom and my sisters and maybe my aunt were all smoking cigarettes, and he had just passed away. And this Luna moth just came out of nowhere, and we had not ever seen one on my mom's front porch. And I remember looking it up, and it had a very significant like meaning to do with like someone that was really close to you passing away. I don't remember like off the top of my head, but I was just like, that has to be with I haven't seen one since, and I hadn't seen one before that in real life.
That's very heartfelt.
I'll bring a rubber nose to the next investigation, Chris. Says Jessica Ramsey.
Thanks, Jessica. I love you too.
Is it a Rudolph nose or a clown nose?
What the hell does it matter?
Because the Rudolph nose lights up so bright, and a clown nose doesn't. It just squeaks.
Well,
or it
yeah,
just sits there. Because I have some Rudolph noses. I don't have clown noses, but I have Rudolph noses in my costume buckets. Love you too, girl. Thank you for watching. So do you think this is kind of like a two-part question, if there's a specific kind of classification of beings, or do you think like either all of them can do this, can come to you in your dreams as a loved one that you've lost?
Oh yeah. They can come across as anything that will be of comfort and joy to you, because they know good and well from past experiences that if they show themselves in their true form, you're going to be so terrified. They don't want to cause heart attacks or harms or anything like that. And so a lot of times when they first come, they will be at a distance, but they will come to you in what to you looks like something that they know what each person finds the most comforting. Like if you're in love with cats or dogs, or if you're in love with your late grandmother or something, they will come across in that
if you're
form.
close to your grandma. Yeah.
And then once they feel you are ready to see them in their true form, once you are educated enough and comfortable enough, then they will reveal themselves.
Howdy, Tips Top Hat. Hello. I like the hat in your photo. It's cool. Yeah, I was asking that because I've had a lot of experiences in that. Like my best friend passed away when my daughter was like 9 months old, and she was in a really bad car crash, and it really like basically snapped her neck and her vertebrae, and she lived right by me. Her husband called me like in the middle of the night, and I woke up and he was telling me she got in a wreck and I needed to hurry and get to the hospital. And when I got there, I didn't make it in time. She had already passed away, and it was so traumatizing that I screamed like a blood-curdling shriek, and then I fell and passed out and blacked out, and I don't remember like a little bit of time that kind of like went away, that I lost. And then when I came back home, my daughter had never waved at anybody because she was only 9 months old. She didn't, know hello and goodbye, and she couldn't talk yet. And there was a rocking chair in the corner of my room, and it started to rock. And I was like, what the crap's going on? And my daughter was waving at it. The girl that passed away was her godmother. So she knew her, and I was like, she has never waved ever. First time ever she has waved. And she was waving at the rocking chair. And I was like, that is insane. Well,
that's because she could see it, whereas we as we get older, we lose that ability to see it.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that was the night, or maybe a couple nights after that, I asked my friend, her name was Jessica, and I said, Jessica, if you're okay, since I didn't get there in time, because I really had like kind of like not survivor's guilt, but like I didn't have closure because I didn't get there in time, and I was so upset that I didn't get to say goodbye. Sorry, I don't get all upset. And so I was like, if you're okay, can you come to me in my dream? And I went to sleep that night. And I dreamed that I was walking on a playground and there was someone swinging on a swing. Like, like kids or something, like a kid. and there was a bright light, like the brightest light I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't even look in it. It was just so bright. It was like blinding me. And no, I was on the swing. Sorry. I'm going back in the, I was on the swing and I was swinging and I was looking into the sun. Right. And it was just like this big ball of yellow light. And I saw a figure coming toward me, a silhouette, like a shadow of a figure walking toward me. And as it got closer and closer, the light started to dim and it was her. And she just told me that she was okay. And then she turned around and walked back into the light, and I woke up. And I thought that was crazy. I've always wondered if that was like her spirit that did that, because there's no other explanation you can really have for something that crazy to happen. Or if like extraterrestrials can do stuff like that to help you out to cope with something.
Yeah, they can come around and they will help us in ways that we may not understand until later in life. Because a lot of times when they give us assistance, they may block part of the experience from us because of the traumatizing of seeing them in their form or seeing what they were doing to help us. They may block a lot of that, only allow us to remember a certain section or certain sections. But as we get older, we may remember more of what they've done or the experience.
There's Nikki and Anthony. Welcome, welcome. Thank y'all for joining. And I'll go back to your comment in just a second, Linda. Hey, Nikki and Anthony, how's it going?
I will be right back.
Okay.
Because if I may say, you can pray to the ET, to your beings, and you can pray to them for help, just like you would to like the Lord Jesus Christ. You can pray to them, and they can help in just the same way. I mean, they do hear. Believe me, they do hear.
That's why, like, kind of when I communicate or I ask for protection or I pray for like maybe a sign or like, like just a nudge, I always say, Lord Jesus, and I always say my archangels, Raphael, Raziel, Archangel Michael, like I call them out by name specifically, or I'll say, or my spirit guides, whoever you are, can you help me, with something? I need to know something.
I will say this, and this might be a little weird, I might find it strange, but I've been in 4 vehicle accidents. I tumbled down a flight of stairs backwards. I've nearly been exploded a dozen times. And each one of those events, I walked away mark-free.
Me too, actually. I even have like newspaper articles because it was like in the newspaper and everything, like several different. The first wreck I was in, I was really young. Hey Enoch, how's it going? Long time no see.
I even went to a few years ago. I went to the hospital for a severe incident that I had, and I said a few prayers. Went in there, sat down. They said, "You can go back to work tomorrow. You're fine."
Yeah, I was in a wreck that was, and what's weird is I was the first one that came out of it. I'll get to y'all's comments. Let me say this real quick. Like, okay, we were going around a curve, and my friend was slapping her boyfriend while she was speeding, and she was driving. I'm in the back seat. So while she's slapping him, she realizes she's about to hit an embankment on the right side. Hi. And she jerked the car the other way, and we fly through trees and roll down into a creek bed that they said was a 40-foot drop. Okay? So this car is a Mazda Miata soft top convertible, upside down in a creek bed, and it had been raining for 2 days, and it was 45 degrees outside and flooded. So at first we're underwater because we're upside down in the car. And then I don't know what happened because I didn't have to get out of my seatbelt. I think it's the only time I can think of ever that I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. I've always worn a seatbelt and I just wasn't wearing one. Don't know why. I don't know, what compelled me to not wear one, but I came up and like the water was to here. And I was holding my head up above the water to try, because the water was really high that night from the flooding. And I was just like praying that my friends came up too. And I was like kind of grabbing and trying to find them in the car with my arms because I'm kind of pinned. I was pinned.
Yeah, I can see the incident. I can envision it.
I was really scared, and I was trying to get my friends and pull them out of the water, but I was stuck where I was at, and all I could do is reach as far as like I could possibly reach. and I was yelling for them, and I was praying for God to make sure my
It
mom knows
wasn't
I
your.
love her. Huh?
It wasn't your time. It wasn't your time.
Yeah. And my friends finally came up to the surface, thank God, because I didn't want to be stuck there and know that they're sitting there next to me in that creek bed, not alive, while I'm waiting to be rescued. You know, that's just like a dark feeling. And it was dark outside.
You haven't completed your purpose in life yet. You still got a lot of. So if it was your time, you would have known it at the moment. You would have known it. You would have felt like you were going to move on, but it wasn't your time.
Yeah. That's probably the worst wreck I've been in. There was another one that was pretty bad, and I don't know how I lived either. And something really supernatural happened. I was on an interstate and I was driving, and it had been raining also. And you know, like if you're
Hey,
getting to
Enoch.
like a
Hi, Debbie.
if you get in a deep puddle, you kind of like hydroplane.
Yeah.
And I probably had bald tires because I was young and I probably didn't look at my tires, or pay attention to how good they were. And so I was going on an interstate, and there's like, that median in the middle, and there's two lanes going that way, and I'm going this way. So I'm driving, I'm speeding because I'm late for school. I was in college at the time, and I had a class at like 9 a.m. or something like that. And I'm like trying to hurry and get there. And I spin around and around and around. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And it's so fast that I couldn't even comprehend anything outside of my car, just that I was spinning. And so when I stopped, there is an 18-wheeler coming straight toward me. And something moved my car. And I have no proof because I was the only one in this car. Something picked my car up and turned it out of that 18-wheeler's way. I swear I wouldn't lie. I wouldn't make that up. And I have never forgot it, that I just was like, God, there's something like angels or something like that turned my car. And like the full car, like just like in Twilight, where he like puts his hand there and he like stops that vehicle from hitting Bella.
Right.
It was kind of like that kind of force, but like scooting me, like something scooted me out of the way so that I wouldn't get hit and killed by this 18-wheeler. And I was just like stunned. I just sat there for a long time, just like, did that really happen? Am I like alive right now?
I think it was your spirit guides that moved your car.
I don't know. I just thought it was insane.
Guardian angel.
I believe, if not 3 or 4 spirit guides, as well as other spirits that are watching over you.
It was very.
Do you ever feel your like there's spirit guides following you or walking behind you?
Yeah, and when I'm asleep, I feel them. Mm-hmm.
You can talk to them when you're sleeping. All you gotta do is when you're dreaming, if you're in a dream state or even falling asleep, you can always say hi. They can hear.
I have done that before.
They can
Jesus take the wheel.
I didn't have any other way to communicate with them at the time, and I would be laying in bed or sleeping and wake up to them doing something to me or them talking in my ear. And I was sitting.
I was sitting in this chair just not even 3 or 4 months ago, and I don't know. I was thinking about something like nobody cares or gives a hoot. About that time, my spirit guides hit my shoulder like, "Hey, we're right here."
Say that dream time you can talk with loved one that has passed. It was my cousin that was doing that stuff to me when I was asleep, and it felt familiar, so I probably should have known it was him, but I didn't know it was him. I just knew it was something I couldn't see. And when he was alive, he was like that. He would prank me and call me and say, "What's up, Effer?" Call me the F word and then hang up on me. And I was like, why does he always do that? But yeah, I kind of thought it felt familiar, but I didn't know it was him until he woke me up saying, "What's up, Effer?" in my ear. And it was his voice. And I woke up and I looked and I thought I was going to see him for some reason, but I didn't see anything, but I knew he was there.
When you pass on, life is just real quick. I mean, to them, I mean, here on where we're at, in the physical realm, we have what is known as time, like 7 p.m., 7:15, 8. But when you're up, when you pass on, there is no time. Everything just kind of goes real quick, but you don't even realize it.
Linda Moulton Howe has a lot of videos on YouTube and books on Amazon. I'll have to look her up. Hey. Sorry, I'm trying to go through a couple of comments. They're building up here. Say that dream
That's fine.
time you talk with the loved one. And then Enoch said, hello, long time no see. How have you been? And there's Debbie. Debbie, excuse me. And hey, Linda again. I'm so happy you're here today. Thank you. It's like giving me a big warm hug when you said that. Another super help came your way. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I can explain it. Like, and when I joined the military, my mom was like, I'm not going to sign the papers and let you join because she was going to have to be like the power of attorney for my kid. And I was like, if I was supposed to die, don't you think I'd be dead by now? Because I have been through so much crap that I should not be here. I would be gone already. So I promise you, I'm not going to go there and just get shot or blown away because all of these wrecks and other things that have happened to me, I shouldn't be here right now. So obviously, I have some kind of purpose, and I think that by doing this, I feel like I'm helping fulfill that.
So, Chris, any old cases that you can tell us about?
Yeah.
I know you're pretty tight-lipped, have to be pretty tight-lipped, but
Yes, we signed non-disclosure papers. Yes, I can discuss a few cases, but I can't. It'll be everything will be kind of the names and everything will be switched around, so I'm not going to infringe on anybody. I did a case last year that was pretty heartfelt. I'll use name she had numerous encounters, and she was hadn't told anybody, hadn't told um, any family or really even her husband about it. But she's reported to MUFON to seek help in understanding her encounters, what she had been going through, and I was assigned the case, and I worked with her numerous times for several months. Still speak to her occasionally, and she was so upset because these things, these non-humans, had been um, with her throughout her whole life, and off and on, and she wanted everything to stop. It bothered her that bad, and so I worked with her, and I was able to. After a few months of working with her, I was able to get her in a position where she no longer has those experiences. In fact, it was probably the second or third time that we spoke. She was in such tears and everything, and she asked me if I thought she was being punished for something. And of course, I just about broke down myself. I said, "No, you're not being punished for anything." I said that none of this is your fault. And I asked her, has she been hurt or have they done anything to her? And she goes, "No, but she knows they're coming. She can see when they're coming. She gets visions that when they're about to take her, and it scares the heck out of her and has scared her since she was young. And so through my help, I was able to offer her meditation and able to. I actually wrote her a script on what she can read while listening to tones. These tones will help transport her mind into a different place, like a beach or an island, and she can read that script until she has it memorized, I guess. And that'll transport her into a dream state where she's like on a beach or wherever she feels comfortable, whatever her happy place is. And then if she shouldn't see the beings or have the abductions so often because I'm able to take her away from that. Even if the abductions are still happening, in her mind, she is now at peace before they come. She won't recall any of it. And luckily, to this day, she is in doing much better. She is not having the problems that she had anymore. She feels they still come occasionally, but not as frequent because of everything that I've done without giving out too many details. She is much happier, and she is very thankful that was able to work with her and get her to a better position. But I was able to take her mindset and turn it around into a more positive state, so that the abductions and the experiences are not as often because I'm able to take her out of that position.
cool.
Do you think that I don't know how to say this without sounding weird. Changed her human experience to accept it better.
Do you mean do I think they changed to a human experience?
Like by what you taught her to do, you taught her to kind of be a different frequency or vibration in order to like accept it easier, not as like a
Well,
3D experience, but like
what I did for her was basically what I do with some experiencers is give them tell them to listen to like meditation tones, or they can listen to beach sounds, whatever's more comforting for them to hear. And then I have them close their eyes at night when they go to sleep. They can do this during the day too, and envision themselves there, basically transporting themselves into that mindset environment that takes them away from whatever's going on in the physical. And then if something does happen in the physical, because when you're abducted by non-humans, you don't remember any of it, but you do remember the beginning of it when you see them come. And then once you get transported, usually the non-humans, the aliens, will erase your memory in some ways, so that you don't remember all of the abduction, but you do remember the fact that they came, and you might remember the fact that they brought you back. It's the in between that they don't allow you to remember. Taking her out of that physical environment of being abducted by transporting her mind into a different area, she doesn't see them come, and so therefore, when she does wake up in the morning, only thing she remembers is the beach or the playground or the petting zoo that she might have been at. And
yeah. So you were kind of removing that like constant state of like anxiety and fear that she was sitting in before.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And what Anthony said, open up the mind of the thing that we block out.
I had a question, but it just kind of flew out of my mind.
Like a booger.
Like a booger.
It's like Linda Judd said here, that I think Linda says, I think that what happened is that she went into a higher vibration while she was in her happy state. And that's exactly what I did. I put her in a happy state of mind.
Yeah.
See, I made a promise about 3 or 4 years ago to the man above that I would help every person I could. It doesn't matter if it's in MUFON or just life in general. And I live up to that. There's not one person on this earth that I will meet that I don't want to help or make friends with, if you want to say that.
Yeah. That's what my mom always told me how I was. And my baby brother. I believe because they didn't know her vibration level that they could not see her, or there was nothing to do. Maybe she was healed, is what she's saying, like in a healed state. So they didn't need to come and help her.
I believe that they may still periodically come around, but to the point that I was able to transport her out of the knowing of that. Therefore, to her, it doesn't happen as often. And maybe it doesn't happen as often because maybe her vibration level is so high that they can't interact with her. It's like a shield that she puts over herself.
Yeah.
Just
like the white light of protection, the ball around you.
Just like if I'm doing a paranormal investigation, if I have a high vibration level and a happy mind state, what's demons or things of that nature, they cannot feed off of positivity. It's like a shield.
That repels them.
Exactly. But it's when your shield is down and you're vulnerable, you can get taken advantage of.
Or you're depressed, or you're sad, or you're really going through some like really hard, dark times.
Yeah, they feed off that. That's like.
I think so too.
Right.
I think they can like latch on to you if you're like that, and they can like keep you there for a lot longer than you need to be. Anything.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it, demonic forces, evil spirits, whatever they're called, anything.
Right.
I'll be right back. I want to put this on the screen.
It's like two ham radio operators. They both have to be in the same frequency vibration level to tune into each other. If one is on a different frequency, then the other cannot tune in. Can't see that other. Just so happens I am a ham radio operator, so. If there is ham radio operators out there listening,
Imagine that, Chris.
my call. Yeah, what do I not do, huh?
Right, exactly.
My call is Kingston Charlie 9 Quebec X Zulu KC 9 QXC.
You got your hands in a little bit of everything.
Right. Just not the cookie jar.
This man does everything.
Then I sleep about 2 or 3 hours a night at the most.
Oh,
Get up at 5 a.m. Start filling out forms, paperwork, interviewing witnesses, making phone calls, doing research.
Well, I know who to call if I can't sleep. Think as if everyone is in a bubble. Yes, positive thought and their thing that feed of energy of bubble we are in. Oh, Linda, Chris has his hands in everything. It's hard to keep up with him.
He does have his hands in everything, or a lot of stuff anyway. Oh, that's a good one too. She's just repressing it, like we do childhood trauma, and it becomes like a lifelong trauma, and it follows us.
And we'll throw this out there. In June, I'll be teaching a psychic remote viewing class to the MUFON organization.
Wow.
And then afterwards, I may teach a class just for a general public who wants to get involved and learn.
Energy attachment. Yeah, I think that's how it works. Like whatever. If you're a low energy, if you're stuck in like a low energy state, that you're more vulnerable for things to like, I call it to latch on to you. I don't know how else to describe it.
That new movie did come out. But you have to have what?
Oh, yeah, the new. Let me elaborate on that. The new movie that is out with the MUFON is called Accidental Truth. And it is available to purchase, but it's also available to rent now for like $4 on Amazon, Apple, whatever. The movie is by a gentleman. His name is Ron James, and what he has done is he has basically exposed all of the first the government and all these people who have said over the years that UFOs and spaceships are not being investigated. They're not being they have no crash retrieval. They have there is nothing. It's just weather balloons and things of that nature. Well, this movie exposes the truth. You'll see in the movie when you watch it. It shows interviews and pieces where people have slipped up and gave out information that shouldn't have been, like the accidental truth. And I've had
Accidental truth.
And it's one of those movies where each time you watch it, you begin to pick up more and more bits and pieces of details.
Yeah.
Because the UFOs are being investigated. They do have crash retrieval. There is evidence that Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, despite what people may say on the news or on television, there is, as we know, there is UFOs, there is aliens. But the one thing there is not, and they have tried to make us believe that there is a like an extraterrestrial war that's going to be going on. That is not true. Just like the Roswell incident was not true. They said Roswell was simply a weather balloon. It was not a weather balloon. It was indeed a crash. And there was a alien body that was alive and was taken.
And wasn't it interrogated and experimented on?
I can't say yes or no on that.
Well, I've seen like footage and like reports that were released from people. I don't know if it was illegally released or legally released, or they had after so long that they were actually allowed to like publish them somewhere. But I've seen documents, official documents, and like footage that was supposed to be from, I guess, like military officers that weren't in the military anymore, of what they did with the extraterrestrial. I've seen a couple of different things and a couple of different people be interviewed about that.
I've seen the interviews, and I've seen one interview in particular where I'll say he does state that he did retrieve the debris from the crash, and that the alien was alive, somewhat still alive when being removed. Now, the big secrecy is, why do they not want us to know uh, what is going on? Could it be they're trying to keep us from having fear? Are they trying to protect us somehow, or are they just trying to? Well, who knows? But one thing I do believe is that these spacecrafts can operate and maneuver around in different ways that we do not have, say, the ability to make such a device.
Craft.
Well, we don't have ways to because aliens or non-humans, they fly the crafts with their hands on the walls, and they use their thoughts to maneuver around. If you're in a spacecraft, you put your hands on the wall like they do, and use your brain to move north, west, east, or south, however you want to look at it, forward, back, what have you. It's all done by thought process and hands. And I think a lot of the government, a lot of the high class officials, might have a lot of this. This, just hypothetically speaking, might have a lot of this debris and crash retrieval, and they're trying to replicate it, but they don't want us to know about it yet.
Yeah, I would say that I'd believe that too. They don't want us to believe that they could have that kind of technology either.
And then you hear stories about the UFOs that got shot down. No. You cannot shoot a UFO down. Their spacecraft is indestructible. You can fire at it all day long. I don't care what you throw at it. It will not even budge. So if you hear stories about spacecrafts being shot down, no, you cannot shoot a spacecraft down.
He said, nope, false flag to Wright Patterson. I'm not sure who Wright Patterson is. Anthony asks, what are your thoughts on astral projection?
Astral projection, yes. I can't say that I have done it, but I can't say that I haven't either. There's been situations where I've found myself in other locations, but then woke up later, right back where I was to begin with, but I could have swore that I was at that location.
Amanda said, I think they just did not want the public to know that they had no power with the aliens. I think men don't want to admit that they have no power with anything because they want to be able to be like the top of the chain, like the top of the pyramid, like the number one.
Well, we know more than they do because we investigate these things. We are the ones that hear the stories, work with the witnesses and the per se victims and all that. We work with them on a daily basis. These government officials and all that, they don't do that. They only know what they have or what little information we give them. They don't know everything we know because they are not the ones that go out there hands on and do this.
Yeah. I'd say more, probably maybe in the last 10 years, but I think there's even more books like in the last like 4 or 5 years.
We get over 700 cases a month in MUFON in general. That's Earth alone, 700 cases a month. Now, out of those 700 cases, at least 85% to 90% can be easily explainable. Mylar balloons, weather balloons, birds, drones, planes, spacecraft, jets, planes, Mars, Jupiter, Sun, the Saturn, the Moon. It could be sunspot reflections from the sun, camera reflections, reflections from the moon, or just simply. We get reports in. Some people submit water spots as UFOs, and so about 85% of this can be easily explainable. It's the additional numbers, the other 15 or 20%, that cannot be explained, and those are what we investigate more thoroughly. Those are the ones that we really put our mind and effort into. Yeah. And occasionally we get a case that does have evidence, photo evidence, and I've seen evidence. I've investigated evidence that I can guarantee you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it was a spacecraft. I've seen evidence that is as clear as your face coming across this computer screen. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
Vision said, my grandfather lost his job at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. That's what he was talking about. After World War II, when someone told him a secret about something that they had brought there, he repeated it and got fired. That's what he was talking about with the Wright-Patterson. I totally believe that would happen. That could happen. That is true.
Oh yeah. When
assisted technology. I've heard of that before, and I've seen some things that were called that, I believe.
Hi, Adam.
Oops. Thank you.
If anybody out there watching has a good question for me, please shoot it across the screen or.
Do you know, Vision, if they just fired him, or did they threaten him, or anything in any kind of way? Do you know?
Like a psychic question? Or do I?
I was asking this, Vision, from YouTube, the one that said his grandfather lost his job at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base after somebody told him a secret about something that they had brought there, and he said that his grandpa repeated it and got fired. I was asking if they like interrogated him or they threatened him after that to like not speak about it, or like, you know, threatened to like do something to him or like erase his existence or anything like that.
I think they probably, just based on what I'm envisioning, I think they basically they let him go in fear of what he could do in the future with the information and knowledge he had.
Maybe what access or
it
like,
wasn't just him. I mean, there was other people that.
Yeah, I've heard of several other people, but I've heard of people getting their identities erased too.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're in the right job in this world, and you are sworn to secrecy or you sign non-disclosure papers and different things.
What?
If you don't follow through, if you leak out information or do things say things you shouldn't, I mean, you can be replicated very, very harsh. Or reprimanded, I should say.
Linda just said, she said, I reported and filled out paperwork about a photo that I took that showed 4 to 5 dots in the sky flying in formation through a hole in the cloud-covered sky. I've seen some videos with stuff like that.
Yeah, so have I. I mean, when I did Alien Talk, I seen all kinds of stuff. Photos and videos.
I've heard that too. I heard the person that said it was on one of the television shows, like maybe on National Geographic or like the Discovery Channel or something like that, where the guy said that there would be people that he started noticing after he knew about this classified information, that he started seeing men in black in different places.
Yeah, and then one night when I lived at my mom's on the back patio, I seen something moving through the sky that was way too fast to be a plane. And I didn't have my phone out there, so I didn't have anything to videotape it or anything, but it moved too fast I wouldn't even have had time to get my video camera going. But
sorry, I'm trying to fight urges. There was a mosquito that got me earlier all over. I was outside. Oh my gosh. And I'm trying to like ignore the itching, because you know when you itch it and then it just gets raw and then it just gets worse. And I'm like, don't give in to the itching, don't scratch it.
So what we'll do now is I'll discuss a topic that's pretty well interesting, and we'll go back to the Zeta race of the non-humans. They're called Zetas, and they're the ones that come in peace and bring love, light, and harmony to our lives and try to better us. One thing to note about the Zetas is the fact that they live in their conscience. Is like, because everybody has like a spirit. Well, they call that a conscience, which basically it is. They live in a kind of like a almost like a like a bottle, so to speak. and their conscience stays in there until it is ready to be put into human form. But they have the option of coming back as a spirit form like us, or a human form, or coming back as another alien race. When they're ready, they get reborn in whichever they choose. And then they go through what is known as schooling, where they have to train and learn and get the knowledge. And then when their parents, or should say the mother and father, feel their child is ready, they then get put into whatever they chose, whether it be a human form like us or another alien type being. When they're ready, they get put back and they get reborn. They live up. Some people say they live in Mars. Some people say they live on other planets. There are other planets just like Earth, and they have the Zetas have detail that there are other planets similar to Earth, and they can visit those planets. They can fly around. What happens is they come and visit us from time to time, and they try to help each person that they can here on Earth. And when they come back to see us, they can put what is known as a screen memory into us, so we see them maybe a little bit different than what they actually look like. But now some Zetas or even Greys do look and 100% in their natural form, just like a human. There is a couple of people that live here on Earth, and some of them live not too far from around here, that are from up there, and their race, their biological parents and race is Anunnakis, which is
Yeah,
similar to Zetas. And if you
or
go on
similar.
YouTube, if you go on YouTube, you can watch some interviews with some of these people that were at one point aliens or non-humans.
I was just asking Jeremy and making sure if we wanted to talk a little bit longer because there's nobody on after me here. And Greg's sick right now, so he would be on if there was somebody, but he's sick right now. He's not going to be on tonight on things or on here or obviously on my YouTube. He's not going to be on there for any reason. So, if we wanted to talk for a little bit longer, we could go. Do y'all want to go for 20 more minutes?
Sure.
Sure.
Feel good? Okay. I don't want to keep you too late if you got to get up early and do stuff, Chris.
Uh, if I sleep 3 hours a night, that's a record for me at times. I mean,
Okay.
literally,
Were you addressing her comment or did you see her comment? Linda's, I don't know of any others like myself, so I haven't met anyone who is also from Andromeda. It's like my soul is like everybody else's, so we're all from God.
right.
Yeah.
As the aliens said that, and this is what they've said, non-humans have actually said that we are you, you are us, we are as one, which means that we're all together linked in some way, shape, or form. Because every one of us has came from somewhere, and it's not always what we're raised to believe.
Sorry, I was reading the other network, just making sure everything's good to go.
What'd Jeremy say?
He said it's good. We can talk. There's not anybody coming on.
Cool.
Have any one of you ever tried to do a psychic remote viewing?
Huh?
Have you ever tried to do psychic remote viewing? Have you ever?
I was taking some courses for it, like some free beginner classes, and actually some experiences and some things were happening. But after the beginner's course, I didn't continue on because the next course was going to be like super duper expensive. And I was like, I cannot do that. I can't sell my soul to continue that. So I guess I kind of got out of like the practice of it or whatever.
I've only done it one time, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I was sleeping. Well, I thought I
Yeah.
was sleeping.
Yeah, psychic remote viewing is basically where you because everybody has a left and a right brain. The left side is the side that we normally use for thought process, reading, writing, arithmetic. That's where we do most of our thinking. The right side of the brain is the psychic side. And that's where the information comes from. In remote viewing, you're basically going to be using your right side of the brain, shutting this side off if you can, and then write down the information that comes to you. I get tested on remote viewing about every week, or sometimes twice a week. Somebody will send me a test, and of course, I ace it just like that. But anybody can do it. It's just a matter of learning the process, which it is quite a process. And then just being able to shut your brain off and just write down what comes to you. I
Yeah.
did a paranormal case a while back. I won't give out names or details, but 8 o'clock that morning, 8 a.m. that morning before, because we left at like 7 o'clock that night to head over to the location. At 8 o'clock that morning, I did a remote viewing session, psychic session, to see what was going on in the house. And I drew a box with a gentleman in it. I couldn't figure out why. I thought, well, maybe it's a doll in a box, but I was pretty sure it was a gentleman in a box. When we got to the location, the female had her family members' remains in a box, cremation in a box.
Yeah.
And
Something like that happened to me when I first started working with the paranormal team and investigating. Like in the very beginning, there was a guy that had messaged us, the members of my team, and asked for help. And I had seen, in my mind, I had seen like a square box with some weird patterns on it. And I described it to him, and I drew it, and I showed it to him. And I think that it was either a vent in his floor, or it was a panel on his ceiling. I think it was a vent in the floor. And I had seen it, like, and told him and showed him about it. And he was like, "Yeah, look, this is what you're seeing." I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is what I'm seeing." I just seen it in like a different dimension. I didn't see it in like I'm literally looking at it, because I think that it needed to be developed more than that. But I saw it to where I could draw it well enough to show it to him.
and yeah, and you got to be careful too when you're doing remote viewing, because you can get sucked in. You can take on other people's emotions. I mean, you can be. I mean, rather than go into details, let's just say that I knew somebody that done remote viewing, and they were doing a murder case. And when they left and was headed back home, they were going over everything they had to accomplish that night. Well, they got to mow the yard, clean out the garage, sweep the floor, kill the wife, go get groceries. Whoa, what was that last part?
What they say,
And
kill the
they had to
what?
stop and kill the wife. They had to stop, get out
Oh
of the
my god.
car, walk around a little bit, and
Yeah.
clear their minds. And before because they were going to do it.
See, that happens to me, not the killing part, or not the like I get affected in that kind of way. Like I've never had any thought like that. But like that happens to me actually. Sometimes I've even gotten sick because I've been around people, and actually like I feel like that is discernment for some people, because I've been around someone and pointed at that person and like said that person is a pedophile, and I didn't know them. I hadn't known them. I just knew their name, and they came up and they shook my hand and they were talking to me, and this like weird like flash of like energy or emotion, or just like this, I don't know, almost like if I had been a victim of somebody like that,
Yep.
how I would have felt when they shook my hand. I felt that, and I was sick to my
I
stomach.
think it
Huh?
was a she. I think it was a she, and I think she was trying to let you know how she had felt at that time, because she wanted you to
Mm.
spread her story out. She wanted you to tell her story. It
Well,
was a she.
Anyone ever?
I well, that's
Well,
funny because you might even be actually talking about the person that comes along in the story a little bit later. So this guy was working at my church, right? And they had hired him. I'm not going to say names or churches or anything like that. It's going to identify anybody, because I don't want to do that to his wife, because she was amazing and I loved her. But they were both like wonderful people when we first met them, and I didn't even have that feeling at all. So I think it was kind of like something dark attacking that person and making them become that way, or something happened to them, or I don't know, because a lot of the times you go back to their past and you realize that they're like repeating an action of something that happened to them when they were young, which is not an excuse, but it's just like almost like a disease. Anyway, so
Right.
he shook my hand, and I've had that feeling like, like someone that would be a victim of that, and like sick, and like just like you want to vomit, but at the same time you're scared, and you're like you want to hide. And I was like, man, that's weird. And I didn't tell anybody about it. And a few weeks later, I found out that I don't know exactly if the parents found out or his wife found out that he was in charge of the youth group, and he had been conversating with inappropriately a young female in that teenage youth group that they were, you know, in over, that they were like flocking, or that they were in control of, and that they were, like mentoring and taking care of, and that he got fired. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's weird and crazy. And never in a million years when I first met that person did what I have ever thought that. Never. I think that he had to touch me for me to feel it, for me to know,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
to trigger it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I stayed at a haunted bed and breakfast back in this past October alone, and I did a psychic. I picked up on a little girl. In fact, I actually drew her a picture of what she looked like, and then a few days later, while we were there, I actually captured her picture on camera, clear as bell.
Somebody sent me something from the comments. That's funny. Yeah, but I don't know if y'all know about this like thing that happened the other day too. There was a bolo that came out, and this happened in Oklahoma like 3 days ago. And there was a bolo that came out 3 nights ago, and I called my mom and I said, "Did you see this bolo? It says there's these two girls, 14-year-old, 16-year-old, missing, a male in a white avalanche. Is it an avalanche, the vehicle? And a white avalanche is the last time they were seen like going somewhere with this male in a white avalanche." And I looked at the photos of the girls, and I knew that they were dead, and I knew the guy was a pedophile and a rapist. And I told, I had never seen them before in my life, and I said, "These girls are not alive." And my mom said, "You don't know that. A lot of the times they actually end up being okay." And I said, "No, they're not alive." I was like, "Their life essence is not there. Like, I don't feel like the essence of their life is still sparked." You know what I mean? Does that make sense? And I
Right.
was just like, and that guy is like, makes me have that, make me have that vomity, like, oh, I'm sick to my stomach. I just want to vomit on that person's face. Feeling is the best way I can describe it. And so I just knew that that feeling, that's how I identify a pedophile or someone that's like that.
Yeah, the hardest thing about doing remote viewing is every now and then you'll come across a situation where you know more than what you want to know, and you wish you didn't know because
Yeah.
you know that they're not alive anymore, or you got, or maybe you're giving somebody a reading and you don't want to hurt their feelings and tell them any bad
Yeah.
news, but you don't have anything else to tell them.
That would be hard.
Yeah.
That'd be really hard. That's why I've always been intrigued and wanted to do that. And I think that I would like to take steps in that direction of doing that. But that would be the part that would be hard, is having to tell somebody that that person's not alive anymore, like their family members or somebody that loved them. You know what I mean? Not like
I
Right.
it's
can't give people bad news. I can't. I would always tell. Um, Rosie and I belonged to a group before, and I would always tell the lead person to go. I would tell her, and she would tell the people the bad news because I could never do it.
yeah. I don't have a problem telling people most stuff. And if I had to do that, I would. I just would like, because I'm so empathetic that I'd totally empathize with that family. And as soon as I saw them like just lose it, I think that I might possibly would lose it too. But
I would, so I
I
could
don't
not
know.
tell them.
Something did recently happen to me to where I actually was able to turn that off though, and it didn't affect me, and I was really surprised.
Well, for
That's
me, knowing things.
mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I was
I said
reading
for
her comments. Go ahead.
Yeah, for me, knowing things, there is really no off and on switch. Either I know something or I don't. And
Mm-hmm.
when it does come to me, I mean, there's no way to put it on the back burner. Once it's there, it's there.
Yeah. Well, I was able to
But
turn off like my hypersensitivity.
well, for me, it depends on the mood. If I'm more of in a happy state, I can give a better reading. Or if I'm more of in a down state, then maybe I can't read anybody at all.
Asking you for a remote viewing. Oh no, they weren't asking for remote viewing. They were asking for evidence. I mean, advice and like a viewpoint of remote viewing. I don't think anyone was asking on here, unless he's talking about who you're talking about in the story. He was asking who's asking you for a remote viewing. I don't think anyone here was asking for one, but maybe whoever you're talking about that you were doing one for.
What's the question?
Uh, has anyone ever walked?
Oh, I know what they're talking about. Yeah, you can remote view the past and you can remote view the future, but you cannot change the past. You can add to it. This means like let's say you're wanting to let's say you remote view 9/11 with the towers coming down. You can add to that by going back to that time and saying we need more help or more security or more this or that. But you can't stop what happened. It's already happened. But you can add to it.
Oh, he's asking, have you ever been seen by the person you are remote viewing? Have they
Yeah,
seen?
you will come across as like a shadow figure or they might think they
That is
see you
a
for a
theory I
split
have always had.
or
What you just said.
they might think they see you for a split second, but then you're gone.
What you just said is a theory I have had since I was young. That people were astral projecting or remote viewing or some kind of higher consciousness of level of whatever you want to call it, traveling or like
It's like it's like when you run into an older person that says, "Honey, I think I've seen you somewhere before." You might have been in their past life when you were doing your astral projection or remote viewing. You might have came to them in a past life, and they might have seen you then, and so
mhm.
they recognize you in the future.
No, I mean, like if people see shadow figures a lot and people talk about it, it's like a really
Right?
popular topic that I've always thought that it doesn't mean it's an evil being, that it can actually be the absence of light of something being there that's the
Yep.
shape of a human or the shape of whatever the astral projecting or the thing is that's actually there
Right.
that has no light because it's on another plane. It's not on our plane. So being on another plane, it is presented to our human eyes and naked eyes as a shadow person. But it's not really a shadow person. It's the shadow of the absence of the light that we can't see of a person. That's what I always felt like.
Right.
Yeah,
First
that's what
response.
kind of situation I was in, huh?
I was reading Linda's response there.
Yeah,
First responders have the ability to be a bit more remote, so their emotions don't take over. I've seen that as patients. Oh yeah,
yeah. I've heard that souls that don't cross over will lose the light energy over time. What do you guys think about
they
that?
they can lose the light over time, but it's not that they so much lose light. They just kind of lose hope they lose hope and they lose faith. I mean, even though you pass on, you still have a heart, you still have faith, you still have feelings. But over time, once you pass on, you begin to feel like nobody can see you, nobody can hear you. You're kind of trapped in this area where there's nobody that cares because maybe you haven't passed on yet, and so you begin to lose light. You begin to lose a lot of stuff. But
There's a lot of theories, and nobody will truly ever know until we pass ourselves.
well, that is true. Yeah,
I don't think that's true. I think we could know. I just think we don't know.
Hmm.
And there again, you got to remember every person is different. So every person, when they pass on, they can interact or even project themselves in different ways than other people because everybody has a different demeanor to them. Not one soul is alike. Let's just
Yeah, like everyone's unique and individual.
like if you wanted to, you could probably come back as a cardinal
Anthony,
or a hummingbird.
I agree, but I think our watchers are spirit guides.
Yeah, I think so too. For our
They
personal
are.
self, I think that they are. Now, if it's for another specific higher purpose, I think it can be somebody that's not like someone we know.
And our guardian angels.
I think we are not ready to understand the true power of understanding. Yeah, that's what I was kind of saying. Like we could know, I think, but we don't know. That's what I meant. Like basically what Anthony just said.
We don't
And then
know because we're not ready to understand. I mean, we came here. We're all in our last lives, and this is the hardest.
let me
This is the hardest realm for us all to come here. We're all
let
here
me
to um, learn lessons for our higher power, because he cannot live in his or he cannot live a human life.
yeah let
That's
me give you
that's what I
give you
learned
guys
when I was in my coma.
right, and I'll give you guys a little help. Something you can do in the mornings and even at night that will help you stay better protected and grounded. Uh, what you'll do is just spread your arms out like kind of like in a cross shape like this, with your palms up in the mornings, and then put your feet about yay far apart, and envision weeds and grass coming up through your feet. But as soon as have you done this before?
It's
No,
grounding
but I
yourself.
know what it is. Yeah, I know what it is because
And then
okay, I have done it before. Yeah.
It's
and then, and
grounding
then
yourself.
yeah, then imagine weeds coming up through your feet, and then you have a white plank or a white sheet that comes up and protects you, like a window that comes in and holds your feet. Then you will envision a white like robe or a white orsal that comes and surrounds you. Then you envision a gold like light and orb that comes around you and covers you. And then you'll hear the doors slam like a door slamming. That is your protection. Now at night you do the same thing. The weeds come up. The sheet or protection covers your feet. Then you got the white light and orb that comes around, and then you got the gold. But this time you're going to have your palms down because you're going to release all the negativity that you might have attracted with you that day. So you're putting everything back to earth, all the negativity, all of and anything that you didn't want that came to you that day, you're going to release it back to the earth. In the mornings, you put your palms up, and same thing, but this time you're adding the protection to you. And then if you're ever in any pain or have any like maybe you're in pain or you ache or you're not feeling well, you can also do another practice I'll teach you. And this is pretty unique. What you're going to do is you're going to count from 5 to 1 like this: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Snap your fingers and you say, "From the God within me, I ask the supreme beings to please heal me." And you say what you want healed. Like I want like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From the God within me, I ask the supreme beings to please heal me from all back pain or negativity, whatever. Then you say, "I'm now completely healed and I know it to be true." And you say that loud. So make sure they hear you.
Yeah, I like that.
Like
I haven't tried that.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I ask the supreme beings. No, okay, let me start over. I goofed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Snap your fingers. From the God within me, I ask the supreme beings to please heal me and remove all negativity from my life and my presence. I'm now completely healed and I know it to be true. That's it.
I like that.
Well, Chris, text that to me so I can read it because that's the only way I'll remember it.
All right.
Thank
I
you.
kind of like it. It's like you're manifesting, but you're also thought forming something
Right.
into existence. with the assistance of something higher than yourself?
Because if you pray and ask for guidance, help, forgiveness, they will hear. We don't know that they hear, but they do hear. In fact, I've asked for like signs before, like if everything's going to be okay, give me a sign, something that I will recognize, and then within just a few seconds, something will happen that I recognize.
Because, Chris, I have asked out loud outside, I have asked them to show themselves to me in the sky, and nothing.
It's not your time yet.
I was gonna
You
say
you'll
you're not at the
you
right
you'll
moment, or you'd see
you'll
them.
see it when it's your time. They're
Yeah, I
not they're
think
not going to
that'd
come.
be too.
Like when I was a kid, I used to see the number sevens quite a bit. I'd always see the number
I
sevens.
see every day, I see 11:11
Yeah.
every day. I will look at the clock and I will see 11:11
Well, 1111 is 22, so
Or 4. 1111 could be 4.
every day. Every day. I will
yeah,
look at my clock and it'll be 11:11.
Well,
that
almost
means
very
that means that
often
you
see
11
817
11
on mine.
the
817 a lot.
the fact that you see 1111 all the time means that there is somebody watching over you.
Mm-hmm.
They chose that as your number. 1111 to them might have meant something, and so that just means they're watching you. They're there with you.
They chose that to let you know that there is like a higher consciousness.
They chose that way to show you that they're there rather than some other way because you wouldn't see it any other way. They gave it to you in a way that you will remember and recognize.
This is what I did too, what Anthony said. Which you've probably done this too, but I don't know. First, trying your dreams, ask them to show themselves.
If you're being contacted by non-humans, if they do come, you can always ask them to identify themselves. Don't always necessarily accept them. I mean, if you know and if you feel it's safe, that's fine. But if you're feeling a little uneasy, ask them to identify themselves. Find out who they are. Don't just accept any. It doesn't matter if it's an alien or a demon or a spirit. If you have your doubts, tell them to identify themselves. They can and will, and that way you'll know who you're in contact with.
Yeah, because 1 is like a baby number because you have 0 and then you have 1. So 1, as you get higher numbers, you're going to have like a higher closeness to discovering like your purpose. But 1 is like a beginning number, so it's a beginning of something. Like Linda said, like 1 is a beginning. Like in tarot cards, they start out and the numbers get higher, and each number, no matter what suit it is, that number represents a level of something based on what number of cards you get.
Oh, man, I hope so because I am tired of this.
But if he's saying 11:11, then that means you're not doing something you're supposed to be doing to get out of 11:11 and to see something like 2222.
Oh, I
Like
see.
maybe there's something you're not getting. Like there's a small like
Don,
piece
you
of the
can ask.
puzzle.
Don, you can ask them at night when you go to sleep. Ask them, what is my purpose? Tell me what my purpose is. And when you sleep at night, they may give you an illusion or something that lets you know what your purpose is.
Anthony, how do you stop people from fearing you when you shock them about something? I come at them with a pure heart and honesty.
That's not me.
If I've got bad news to deliver to somebody, it doesn't matter if it's in MUFON or paranormal or just life in general. If I got news, I will tell them the news in a way that they will understand, but I will make it sound as peaceful and as heartwarming as I can. I mean, I will never walk up to somebody or, okay, let's say I'm on the phone talking to an experiencer. I'm not going to say, ma'am, yeah, you've been abducted half a dozen times. I'm telling you, this doesn't look good. Sorry. I would never do that. I would tell them in a peaceful, gentle way that you've been abducted, that you, I feel that you have been abducted, that you have been taken, I don't feel that it's anything negative. I feel that they're coming to you and your family in peace, and that they mean no harm. If it
Oh,
was,
they
if
said,
it,
what if it's something that no one knows about?
I'd have to have Anthony to be a little bit more. Uh,
Yeah, a little bit more specific.
Yeah, because the thing that popped in my mind is not something
I
good.
think
It's
what he,
something that I
I,
would have a problem telling people too, if that's
I
what
think
it is. But I don't
I
know.
think what I think what Anthony is saying is he wants to know what would happen if I had to break the news to somebody about maybe a spirit or something they don't know anything about. Um, like
Family
let's say you have
secret. Mm,
I was thinking something like that, Dawn.
yeah
yeah. Um,
Oh, he said family secret. Okay, it was highlighted. I thought you were just saying family secret, and I was like, how could you say like family secret is what I'm kind of talking about? Exactly. If it's what I thought you were talking about, it would be very hard to tell somebody. And sometimes I don't feel like it's always your responsibility to tell people stuff.
yeah, that's what I
Some
was going to say too.
situations, it's not like, okay, if there's a message that won't leave you alone that really needs to be told to somebody that's from a spirit that loved this human being and they're wanting you to tell them, that's different. But if it's something that's going to like naturally come out in the wash anyways, or be found out anyways, or like come to fruition, come to light, come to, like truth anyways, I don't. If you're going to say it, you better be prepared for what's going to happen afterwards and the responsibility that you're accepting by saying it. Does that make sense?
yeah. To me, it
Because you're
does.
playing you're going to play a part in that
Right.
story from now on if you didn't before.
I treat every person in every case that I do with complete honesty and loyalty. Excuse me, talking too much. So I treat every person the same, even if I feel like the person is not telling the truth, or that this case could be just a hoax or they're making it up. I still treat every person the same, give them the same amount of respect, kindness, love, and I would do that with just anything in life in general. I never will do anything that could harm a person or give them bad news or do anything that would bring any harm to anything or anyone.
Okay,
Um,
so we have another question.
yeah, go ahead.
I hope I didn't miss it. How do you all feel that paranormal activity is alien interaction, a connection between aliens and entities?
Let's see. How do you feel about the paranormal activities, alien interaction? Um, if it's alien versus paranormal activity, paranormal activity is going to have more of a I want to say more of a reality to it. A paranormal activity is going to be more. You're going to hear knocks, bangs. You're going to see shadow figures walking along the walls. You're going to know it's paranormal because of everything that goes on. Like if it's a past loved one, you're going to smell their presence. You're going to feel their touch at times, or you're going to see the outline of that loved one walking across the walls, or whoever it may be. But if it's alien activity, you're going to normally see like a bright light as they come in, and you're going to see you're going to see their outline of the alien. Of course, they look a lot like humans at times, so it can be maybe a little bit hard to describe or figure out which is which. But usually, if it's an alien, you're gonna know because of their light that comes through. Because most extraterrestrials come with a blue light that comes down, and then they will come walking through, or you might see them standing at the foot of your bed, or the outline of them. They have a pretty distinct look. Whereas a paranormal activity is going to be more shadow figures, whispers, voices, EVPs, things of that nature. So there is a difference.
Do you think that they interact with one another, not us, as their only like choice, but like if they actually interact with one another, say extraterrestrial beings
In spirit.
interact with a human's spirit?
That's a good question. I don't know if they interact with each other or not. I would almost assume they could, but I've never heard so. But I would almost say they can because ETs can operate on a higher conscious level than we can. So I would almost say yeah, they could probably interact with each other.
I think that if they're on the same the same wave, if they're on the same synchronicity, the same wave, the same vibration, the same, like the same strand, the same matrix, something to that effect, that they could.
Well, like the ham radio. They're on the same frequency as the ham radio.
I think that's how
Right.
people become synchronized with each other, and after a while, people can actually like finish each other's sentences, or like where you're thinking about somebody, and then you look down and they're calling you, kind of like something like that.
Right. Truthfully, you can actually use radio waves like ham radio and even AM/FM to communicate with not only aliens but paranormal activity as well. The trick is to be able to tap into their frequency levels. It's like photography, for instance. I do a lot of photography work, and I'm able to go through different photography settings because I'm a professional photographer. I can tap into their level and see where the portals are, the outlines of the spirits and ghosts. Like I did, we did a case back in October at a bed and breakfast, and I was able to use photography to tap in and to capture the image of the little girl sitting on the steps. And then later on, I was able to go back in through another setting and tap in to see her running up the steps.
Huh.
I was there.
It's a matter of getting on their level, their vibration level, which
Yeah.
whether you're doing AM,
Or
FM
like a
radio,
matching, like you're matching
right? You're synchronizing in a
mirror,
way,
like a mirror, kind of.
right?
Back to what Linda said before. I am a gifted
Clairaudient,
no
clairvoyant.
a gifted empath, and before I understood what I was, I would go to people and I would tell them or ask them, or ask them what was wrong, how they were feeling, and then they would act like they were all okay. They were okay, and act like I was weird. And
I don't. She always knows when there's something wrong with me, and then she calls me, and I'm like, "How did you know?" But it's like I knew she was going to call me too at the same time. And she's like, "What's
yeah,
wrong?" And I'm
Rosie and I
like,
have this
"How'd you
weird
know?"
connection, and but we're both getting used to it. And they would then a few days later they'd come to me and they'd say, "How did you know?" And I didn't even know that I knew. I didn't know how I knew, and it wasn't until later on that I even understood myself. So, and that would run people away from me constantly. They would freak out, and so, Linda, I completely understand. I've lost so many friends because I didn't understand to keep my mouth shut and not say anything.
Let me give everybody some.
Afraid to say something.
Let me give everybody some advice. Right now, the best thing we can do in life is to always project love, light, and kindness. Always project that outwards through here, through the mind, through the heart. Project love. The more love you project, the more other people are going to intake that. And that's going to help their vibration levels rise. And the more the Earth's vibration levels rise to a higher frequency, the more love Earth has in it, the better the population, the better the just overall in general. But what we're doing right now is we have so much hate, and negativity going on that is overpowering the love, light, and happiness. I mean, if you want to make somebody feel down, what's the best way to make somebody feel down? Walk up to them all day long and go, oh. If you want to make somebody happy, walk up to them and give them love, give them words of encouragement.
I'm listening to you, but I was copying and sharing the link to somebody that I think needs to watch this. Someone that has been contacting me about an issue that they have going on, and I want them to watch this. But I was watching myself at the same time, and I was like, "Am I moving? When I move on here, can I see myself move?" I'm weird. It's okay. Yes. I was
Yeah,
gonna say
yeah.
that I liked that what Anthony said, the breath of life, free will, and the breath of life. That's what I always tell everybody, that everyone's given free will, and I'm like, so if you are like something is going on with you or happening to you, and it's a reoccurring thing that's happening to you, that you have to choose for it to not happen to you. You have to make a choice for it to not happen to you, like addiction. Like say someone has an alcohol addiction and they want to keep making excuses why they have an alcohol addiction, but then they want to say at the same time, I wish I could quit drinking alcohol. But they don't make that conscious decision to stop using that excuse and to
Love you too,
stop.
Linda.
Huh? I wasn't pointing that at anybody specifically. I was just saying, like, if anyone has an issue, like, oh, I was abused as a child. Now I'm going to abuse people and I'm going to use that as a fallback crutch. Like, you have to make that decision to not relive that constantly. If it doesn't make you happy, why would you want to, anyways? But you have to, like, make that choice. Like, make a choice.
Well, I want to say to everybody, to both you and Don, thank you for having me on. But I do have to get
That's
out of here
okay.
for the
We need to go
evening,
anyways.
and I do
Yeah,
want to say,
this has
I
been
want to
fun.
I want to say thank you to everybody out there watching. All the guys back in MUFON, all the paranormal teams, Bill, Jess, whoever's watching, all the friends I made recently, Kylie, my old friend Brandon from MUFON. Anybody watching, I want to say hi and thanks to everybody. And this has been a great show, and come
Thank
back and do it
you.
again sometime.
And we'll see everybody next Wednesday at the same time, 8 Central Standard Time. Good night,
Yes,
everybody.
thank you. Aren't we having Chris
Chris Garcia.
Garcia?